This is a video that I wanted to make for a very long time, but I haven't really made it because I do think it's a bit unoriginal. I do think a lot of people have already been doing tier lists, but I haven't seen a lot of 4x4 ones. Maybe I may also do a big cubes one, but I might actually end up ranking series rather than specific cubes. And as well as like the non-WC big cubes. That one is another one that I think I can kind of do, but again, it's going to be more of a series thing than a cube thing. But back to 4x4, I do think like this is something that I really wanted to do. I might have said my opinion a few times. My opinion may be split across multiple places in multiple videos. As you can see, it's made from past thumbnails, except for videos where I unbox multiple cubes, like this little magic 4 out here that is actually sitting on top of a Valk 5 and a Kilomings. But since this is a 4x4 video, I edited them out. But apart from that, using past thumbnails is also sort of an indication that I've at least reviewed all these cubes before in some way. So some cubes will also be missing, like the Diansheng 4x4 and the GTS1M because I've never tried them before and never made a video. But I think most of these are mainstream 4x4s. I'm going to start with the Aosu WRM, and this cube defines an entire tier, in my opinion, because this is... when I first tried this cube, I do find that this is the one true flawless 4x4. It has a great speed, great weight, great corner cutting, and that it actually brought nothing new to the table. Like everything it has introduced, like the smoothness, the speed, most of them appeared in previous 4x4s, as well as the size. It appeared previously in the Meilong, which is an older cube. The main deal with this cube is its reliability. It's the least affected under stress, doesn't have any glaring flaws, and while itself doesn't feel like anything new, it perfects everything previously known about speed, stability, corner cutting, and so on. And it will take the creation of a new, never seen before feature or new technology in order to top this cube. And next I have the MGC, personally not one of my favorites due to it being a little bit more stiff and easier to pop, but I think these are relatively minor and I would still rank the MGC really high on this list. And it's a bit lighter and faster, and so it has a much better price. I'm not going to include price in this tier list because like if not, the budget cubes will all skyrocket very high, since they are mostly like, let's say 98% of a flagship performance at 50% of the price, for example, and therefore the value for money is going to shoot them up real high. On the ambition, this one goes into A1. So this is a really light and fast cube, and I do find that like I do like its performance quite a lot, and reactions to this cube also are not too bad, like from videos that I've seen online. And personally, I do think, however, this is more of an advanced cubers cube and not very beginner friendly. You need some past experience to set up this cube properly, and you also need to already develop your turning style enough to like be really accurate in order to fully maximize this cube. Otherwise, I think you're going to get quite a lot of lockups. The next cube I have is the Meilong 4x4, and I'm actually going to put it slightly higher than the ambition. So in this thumbnail, it appears that I put a black cube here, which this particular cube you're seeing here is my personal magnetized one with very strong magnets. I'm actually not reviewing this cube here. I'm going to talk more about the factory magnetized one, which is what most people are going to buy, and the factory magnetized one is currently standing as my main cube. So yeah, with this cube, I think I said it in my main Speedcubes 2021 video. What it has to offer is quite similar to what the ambition has to offer, but its skill barrier to entry is a little bit lower because I do think it flexes around a little bit less than the ambition. Okay, this is a little bit of a preference thing. I do feel that the springs of the Meilong 4 are weaker and the overall friction is less, so I find that it's actually a faster cube. This part is a bit subjective. So going on into A2 tier, the reason why it's not B but it's A2 is because I do think that the cubes that go into this tier are actually really good, and they have the ability to go into the worm tier easily if not for one big thing, which is the size. So I feel that the size of the Yusu and the Aosu GTS2 are slightly out of mainstream, which is why I put them in A2. But apart from that, I feel that just judging them by the turning quality alone, more or less equal to, or if not possibly better than the Aosu WRM. But yeah, because of the size, the Yusu is the size of 3x3 and the Aosu GTS2, if you main the Ultron WRM, this thing will be the size of a 5x5. Yeah, I do find that the more common sizes that people use are 59 and 60. So 56 and 61 are, as of modern day, they may be slightly out of mainstream. But if you have a specific size preference, I think these two actually are still very highly main-worthy. Going on into the B tier, I'm actually going to put the Yusu V2M at the top of the B tier. And like I just think this one is a really nice budget cube. It's mostly a bigger and heavier MGC, still really fast, and like I think even with the size and the weight, it's still quite decently usable. Then next, I'm actually going to put the Aosu GTS1. So this one is, okay, from B tier and below, this is going to be very subjective and up to my own bias and personal preference already, because this one is actually my main for a very long time. It has set a PB single 33.2 something that I have yet to break, and that was like super long ago. And also, I do think this cube is a little bit underrated. It's as in fast for its time and like also quite reliable. And the main issue with this cube is that the magnets are actually unequal. The inner layers are much stronger than the outers. The outers tend to be a bit weak, but I feel that the reason why it's underrated is because it's quite an easily fixable mod. You can just stack the magnets like the RS4M like plus mod on the outer layers while leaving the inner layers alone as they are, and this cube more or less turns out really nice after that. Review a plus mod RS3. I don't see why plus mod RS4 or GTS1 is not possible. Then after that, I'm actually going to put the mini Wuchie. So this one is also a little bit of an older cube. I do think it's newer than the Aosu GTS1, if I remember correctly. It has a medium speed, medium stability. It's quite good, and I'm actually going to rank it higher than the Valk 4 because I do think its inner to outer layer magnet strength is much more equal as opposed to a very light outer and very strong inner, which is going to be the issue with most of my D tier cubes. But okay, the Valk 4 is, I'm going to put it in C tier. So this one has nice outer layers, it's really fast on the outers, but it's down here because of the unequal magnets that I mentioned, and also the corner cutting isn't that great. So I do find that this one is, especially on its inner layers, it feels quite restrictive to turn. Then another cube that I'm putting in C is the Little Magic 4. So this one is also a lot of personal preference resulting in its rank, but I find that it's a really slow cube that is really unstable. Like it flexes a lot when I turn, so I don't really enjoy using this one as much. Then next, I actually have the RS4, which is actually 100% the same cube as the GTS1, except for the fact that it's a budget cube, so it's like an old flagship cube reprinted in a cheaper plastic, and because of that, I do think its rank will drop. As a Moe biased person, I kind of want to put this in the C tier because I do think I can fix it with the same, like in the same way as the GTS1. Like its main issue again is that okay, it's heavy. The inner to outer layer magnets are very unequal on this cube. However, I'm putting it in the D tier because it has more in common with some of the other D tier cubes that I'm going to mention. And yeah, the next one in line is the MS, which basically I have all the negative things I can say about the Valk 4 and the RS4M are more or less I'm going to say that to the MS4. For that I have the Gunfall 60. This one it also has its own reputation. It's basically here for the same reason as the MS4, the RS4, which is like the outer layers are really nice, but the inners have very restrictive corner cutting and kind of not very reliable to do, like especially 1x2 turning, like when you do RW2 and U2, which is the OL parity L. Next up I have the LIS4 version 1. So this one, I'm putting it in E tier because firstly this cube is not mass produced, it is just 3D printed and the quality is not that, like even if I could prototype this cube unlimited times and have access to injection molding, it would mostly be a Huachuang copy and belong in 2015 and not in 2018, which is actually the year I printed this cube. Type 4 V2. This for the actual turning quality itself, again, is 3D printed, it's not mass produced, so the quality doesn't match a injection molded cube. But at the same time, there are a few features in this cube that I kind of like, which is I designed it with a dual adjustment mechanism, but I kind of destroyed it because I got the tolerances wrong, and as well as I put really strong magnets in this cube, so it kind of destroyed the entire performance. But I do think if I had limited attempts to prototype this cube, I would likely end up in a situation where the dual adjustment mechanism actually works. And like this cube also has quite a bunch of things, like it has a totally new alignment mechanism that is not the XB alignment mechanism, and it also has a core corner magnets, most of the newer things that 3x3s have, but I feel that they should come to 4x4.